Okay, well, my name is Sola Mogaji. That's my real name, but I'm known on radio as Schullzz. Schullzz is for Sola, but it's spelled in a funky way, so I spell it SCHULLZ, just to give it a bit of a radio thing. A presenter in the building actually used to work on Nigeria FM, actually gave me the spelling of that name, that this is how I should spell my Schullzz, because I used to spell it SOLZ. I thought that was funky enough. Apparently it wasn't. I work on Classic FM as an on-air personality. Do the Classic Lounge with Bookie on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then on Saturday I have my own show called Schullzz on Saturday, and on from about 12 to 4. So basically I do the midday show on Saturday and also Tuesday to Friday. I went to see a friend of mine. I was just lounging in her house and just being me, so to say. We're talking about music and how much fun we had, and I was dancing. I'm a great dancer, by the way. So I was just messing around as usual. And apparently there was a guy who was also in the house. I didn't know who he was at the time. It turned out to be Tintin Imevere, who was he used to be the program director for the station. Hi, my name is so. I think you'll be perfect for radio. And I kind of looked at the card and I thought, yeah. And I just put the card at the bottom of my bag, and I didn't call, because I just knew that I liked music. You can tell I like to talk, so combination of both. But I didn't think I'd do radio. And so a couple of weeks later, I got a text from him saying, I haven't heard from you. So I thought, okay, let me just call. And so when I called, he told me, oh, you have a nice voice on the phone. So come into the studio, let me talk to you and see what you can do. And so I came to the studio, and the rest you know. This studio, the rest you know, is history. And when I came on, he thought I had a vast knowledge about music, and so he gave me the name DJ Schullzz. And so I started out on Classic FM as DJ Schullzz because I used to come to work with lots and lots of caskets of CDs and everything. And the name got stuck, and after a while, the DJ I kind of felt the DJ would probably limit me. Because I wanted to do other things like, anchor shows, MC events and stuff. And I thought, well, who's going to call a DJ to come and anchor a show? I also felt that as a woman, I needed something a little bit on the serious side as well to add to the fact that I'm into music. And so that's how I ended up with Schullzz. And I'm still here. Growing up, I was one of those children that I'm sure my parents used to fast and pray all the time because I was crazy about music. If my parents gave me 20 naira for pocket money, I'd spend the 20 naira and go to Samako Records in Ojelemba and go and buy LP. You know what they call vinyl? We call it vinyl. I don't know what they call it now. They call it LPs. And I used to spend my money on records. So I've been buying records since I was like 11, 12 years old. And I still have the records till today. At some point I changed from vinyls to CDs, and I still collect my CDs till today. My preference for music is really jazz, because my father brought us up on jazz, and my mom is into classical music. Let me put it this way, music it's like, some people say it's reading, it's whatever, I love to read as well, but music for me is my thing. It's the thing that I get my sanity from. It's the thing that no matter what I'm going through, I find my solace in music. And so it got me through school, like, if there are exams, if I don't remember what I was reading, believe you me, because I read with music, I'll remember exactly what song I was listening to, and it would help me remember what I was reading, So music has gotten me through a lot, in my life, and all through university and in secondary school. I had a lot of friends who were into music. I was part of the literary and debating society in school as well. And I used to do all their record quiz, and I never used to fail. And now I also have a thing that I do every first Thursday of the month. I do that at the Soul Lounge in Lekki. It's called Hanging with Schullzz. And you just come. So what I do on radio, I do in person. So everything you will hear me say on radio, how I am, people. I lived in England for 17 years, so people think that, also she's one of those English speaking kind of people. Well, I am, but I'm also from Isaleko, so I do a lot of the Raz, as they call it, Isaleko things. I do the pidgin English. So I kind of just mix myself. When I came on radio initially, I was very shy. I used to just say one word. I'll say, okay, yeah. So all right. I was very, tailored. I didn't want to make a mistake because I know that I can talk. I always used to just, okay, so let me not say more than this, let me just say this, let me just get off, And then people used to tell me, well, the Sola that we know, when we listen to radio, we don't see that Sola, we don't hear her. So what's going on? But it took me a while, really, to come into my own on radio and be myself and know that I'm interested enough to put myself out there. And it's only gotten better since I came on radio. So for me, I think be yourself. It's very key. No matter what you're going through, know that at some point it will end. Nothing lasts forever. Everything will pass. I encourage people, follow your dreams, follow your passion. I keep saying that word passion because a lot of us are in jobs that we just do it for a payslip. I do my job for a payslip, don't be mistaken. But I also do it because I really, really love it. The highlight of my career being on Classic FM would be the day I got on air alone. Because when I started the show, I did the breakfast show with Tintin. And then I left the breakfast show and then I did the Classic Lounge with Bookie. For having my own show and knowing that everything to do with the show and what I do and what I say is all shows. For me, that's one of the highlights of my career because I always kind of, one of those people that I'm like, oh God, am I saying the right thing? Should I say this? I want to say this, but will I offend anybody? So just being able to let go of all that and just be myself and put myself out there and be ready for people to criticize or love me or whatever, for me that would be the highlight of my career. People don't pay for creativity in Nigeria. Creativity is something that is yours. You can't put a price on it, and people generally don't appreciate creativity. Creativity has a long way to go in Nigeria. I think a lot of people are still restricted. Maybe it's because of our traditions, maybe because of our parents, maybe other factors at work as well. I think they should let people be. A lot of our creativity, sometimes you find people tell you, you are too, like for instance, when I go somewhere, I'll be the first on the dance floor and last to leave. If you have a personality, your personality and creativity, there's a very narrow line between it. I mean, if you talk about the fashion industry and stuff, yes, you get a bit of, this creativity is coming along. In our music, I must say, a lot of creativity is coming out. I'm listening to Nigerian songs and I'm like, wow, that's a Nigerian. But I think there's a lot more we can do, and it starts with the parents. I think I would say that as a mother that it starts with your child. If you notice your child has a talent, has a given thing that they love, encourage them, nurture them. Not everybody's going to be a doctor or lawyer or whatever. You'll have an artist, you'll have someone who's a rapper, you'll have all sorts. So I think we need to get away from that, my son has to be this or my daughter has to be that. If I were to project where I'll be in 5 years, I'd like to think I'll still be doing radio. Maybe not doing it full time. Maybe having my own show that I paid for on radio. So it's like, it's shows on radio and I paid for 2 hours and I'm doing my show as opposed to working for anyone, so to say. But chances are, because of what Classic FM does, I think I'd love to still be on air working as an OAP on Classic FM, but also having my own thing, which will be where I can talk, where I can tell people about my experiences and change someone's life. Eventually, I'd love to do some kind of a mentoring for young people. And I'm also very passionate about women causes, wife, battery, domestic violence, and all those kind of things. I'd like to get involved a lot more and also bring it home. Because I'm on radio, I think there's a lot more that I can put out there. So yes, there's a lot I see myself doing in 5 years. But it will still include radio, I promise you. Be yourself. Be very truthful to yourself. Surround yourself with people who encourage you. Get an education and go for it. And leave no stone unturned in trying to get there, and don't let anybody stop you.